Hello, everybody. Welcome to the review. It is 10:37 p.m. I want to apologize ahead of time for having a delay in reviews. My work schedule has kept me busy as of late, so hopefully, right as of right now, things are going to start calming down. I'm able to get back into reviewing in a more consistent manner. As per usual, be spoiler free. And if you happen to like the content of my channel, please hit the subscribe button below. Spread the word to your friends and family. Provide a like, a comment if you're interested. I just came out of theater not too long ago after watching the latest historical epic directed by Ridley Scott titled Napoleon, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby, detailing the historical rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. And needless to say, when it comes to historical accuracies, please understand that with a film of this type of epic scope, historical accuracies aren't necessarily going to be, or I should say, shouldn't necessarily be the sole focus, because as you know, any type of story that is dealing with a historical figure, whether musical or militant or political, there's always going to be certain liberties that are taken with the story in order to make it that much more accessible to the viewing audience. So please understand that you're not going to necessarily receive a 100% historically accurate story when it comes to focuses, say, Napoleon, because you would essentially be looking at a 3 to 4 hour, 5 hour film. Ridley Scott has been one of my favorite directors since I've watched the film Alien, Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, Gladiator. Gladiator is one of my favorite films of all time, and I'm pretty sure that most people will agree is one of the greatest films of all time. So, as being a history buff as I am, anything related to Nazi Germany, the Revolutionary War, Civil War, Gettysburg, what have you, those type of historical events have always been a significant interest for me. And so when I saw the trailer for Napoleon, I knew that it was going to be a topic that I was very heavily invested in. And with Joaquin Phoenix playing the iconic militant military leader Napoleon Bonaparte, I knew it was going to be great. I just knew it was going to be something special because he gives his all with every single cinematic project that he's involved in. Having said that, Napoleon, the overall concept of how it was portrayed on the big screen, I thought was simply cinematically beautiful. I love the architectural landscape that was captured on the big screen with how Ridley Scott managed to more or less have this perspective of showing what it most likely looked like during that particular era in time during the 1700s. There's also references to Maria Antoinette and how, in a way, in actuality, the interesting thing about this film is how it shows you more or less exactly how certain individuals or political leaders, for that example, how they delegated with one another, and should consequences be bestowed, this is exactly what would happen. And I thought that was fascinating. It made me really think about exactly how, at times, how the parallels that exist between, say, what's going on right now to compare to what went on then. It's a night and day transition. I thought Ridley Scott did an amazing job at portraying the overall uh, political landscape of the Napoleon time period. Joaquin Phoenix's performance as Napoleon was absolutely astounding. He does a remarkable, amazing job. I mean, as per usual, when it comes to his acting performances, you know you're going to get something special, regardless of whatever project that he's involved in. And this is no exception. He does an amazing job. You have Vanessa Kirby, who plays his wife, Josephine. The interesting thing about their performance and the chemistry that they have is it's usually, in a way, is kind of based on some form of cathartic, dry humor. And surprisingly, there is an abundant level of humor involved. It's not so much the level of humor where it's over the top, but it's humor in a manner that is done tastefully and is balanced symmetrically with how the film manages to flow along, and it doesn't feel out of place. It just feels as if it's just perfectly natural. Like possibly this is how they most likely interact with one another. One interesting facet that I do want to point out when it comes to their dialect, please be prepared that it's not. Please be prepared to not expect any type of accurate accent with the actors and actresses, because I imagine it's very hard for actors to replicate a French, British, or Italian accent. So hearing Joaquin Phoenix speak in a dialect that definitely was not reminiscent to how they spoke with one another during that time, it wasn't necessarily jarring for me, but I imagine it might be jarring for other people. But it didn't detract for me, and I just thought it was absolutely wonderful how not only him but Vanessa Kirby played exceptionally well off of one another, and how their relationship their marriage was so volatile to the point that essentially both of them were toxic to one another. And I just thought that was just a great concept as to how Ridley Scott managed to hone in on that perspective of their existence. The battle sequences is another amazing highlight too. I love the overhead shots and how beautiful and majestic that it looked. It reminded me a lot of Braveheart, when the Mel Gibson epic, how it's just an over this the bird's eye view of the battlefield, and how they focused on Napoleon's military strategic method in terms of organizing his army and finding a way to infiltrate into enemy territory and overcoming them and conquering and becoming king, if you will. So I just thought that was another true uh, representation of what possibly happened during that time period. And I loved every single second of that film. I love period pieces, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Any type of story that is going to focus on strong, powerful military political allegories, uh, as far as events are concerned, I I'm immediately just all in. I am focused, and there was never a part of this story where I felt immensely bored, and nor was it a waste of time. And I imagine there's most likely going to be an extended director's cut, possibly a 3 to 4 hour, maybe who knows, a 5 hour cut, knowing Ridley Scott. So obviously there's going to be a lot of subject matters that are glossed over in order to appease time methods. But overall, I thought the film was absolutely wonderful. Just great acting, great battle sequences, a wonderful atmosphere, beautiful cinematography, and the orchestral score associated with the battle sequences is just top notch. I mean, just absolutely powerful, impactful, and just emotional at the same time. That is my review of Napoleon. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. If you have watched the film, provide a like and visit me on my Discord if you're interested in joining in on the chat. My next review is going to be most likely on the Hunger Games prequel film. If not, you'll be seeing me again. Take care and peace out.